Yeah, that's that about sums it up, doesn't it? I it's so surreal to be at this podium with all of you right now, listening to that, to our newest partners here in Central New York, to the values that they have, how well those values align with ours. Right? Think about all the things you just heard from Dr. Simmons, and think about all the things that you've heard at this event and so many of our other events over the last decade as we've been working, chipping away literally at the issues that we're talking about race, about equity, about access, about opportunity, about growth, about dynamism here in our region, about putting Central New York back on the map. And then someone who didn't grow up here walks up onto this stage and speaks our language fluently. You know, the jobs, they are so important, and they will change the economic trajectory of this region long into the future. But the partnership and the change and the values, those things are just as important, if not more important. And they're going to make an even bigger difference in this community. And I have never been more proud to be associated with all of you and associated with this community, because we are doing something that is remarkable, and you should all give yourselves a round of applause for your role in that. You know, I want to start by thanking our team at CenterState CEO. And there are many folks who are here in the room today. This team of people and professionals are so incredibly talented. They're giving, they're creative, they're innovative, they're energetic, and they make sacrifices day in and day out. And they've been doing it for a long time, and oftentimes perhaps without the recognition they deserve. And so I just want to take a moment and ask each of our staff members who are here with us today to please stand, because without these people, really, all of you, Cindy, I'm looking at you, all of our team members, please stand. Without the sacrifices that these individuals make day in and day out, this project doesn't happen. Without the sacrifices that their families make, this project doesn't happen. And it is an honor and a privilege every single day to work with each and every one of you to be able to drive this kind of impact for our community. Now, the reality is we are so proud of the role that CenterState CEO has played in bringing Micron, our newest partner, to Central New York. There were so many people who played such a critical role. Governor Hochul, certainly, Senator Schumer, our county executive, who I know couldn't be here today, did a phenomenal job at assembling this amazing site out in Clay that Micron is now going to call home. But it also needs to be noted the role that each and every one of you have played in helping make this possible, because each of the jobs that you've added and that we've celebrated at this event year after year, each of the investments that you have made have literally been the foundation upon which we pitched our community to Micron. And without those investments year after year, without your hard work and your risk and your commitment to this community, we're not standing here today celebrating this historic investment in Central New York. Now, I also think it's really important to just reflect for one more moment. You might recall last spring there were news articles about semiconductor opportunities that were floating around. A little bit of attention in Central New York, but there were stories in communities across the country about how they were actively working with Micron, and how they were, even in some newspapers, how they were successful at landing Micron. And I remember every time one of these stories would hit somewhere in the country, my phone would blow up, And you would get these panics like, oh my God, is that the deal? Did we just lose our deal? Did we lose our deal? You know the thing I'm the most proud of? There was never one of those stories in Central New York, right? We never bragged to the newspaper. We never talked about publicly what we were doing, and for good reason, because what was most important was driving this project home. But it's also true that nobody saw us coming, right? Central New York, people out there in the ecosystem, they didn't know what Micron learned. They didn't know what you all know, the values that we have, the quality of life that this place represents, the passion and the enthusiasm, and how being here and building your business here is more than just about making money, as Robert said. It's about being a part of something that is bigger than each and every one of you, right? Being a part of a community, and it's just remarkable. You know, this event every year, this year we're recognizing 421 businesses and organizations that have created more than 5,000 jobs, invested more than $1 billion in capital. They're adding 5.8 million square feet of new space, opening 121 new businesses, 76 milestones or anniversaries, 102 awards and achievements, and 52 companies new this year that we are honoring who are making meaningful commitments to advancing diversity, equity, inclusion in their workplaces. It's remarkable what all of you do, right? Each and every year we stand here and we celebrate. These investments are a down payment on our community's future progress. And to so many of you who've come back year in and year out, we thank you. And we want to celebrate you. This event is always about celebrating all of the businesses that make Central New York thrive. Companies like Huber Brewer Construction, who celebrates its 150th anniversary this year. The company's made a commitment to advancing DEI, is headquartered on Syracuse South Side, and has long contributed to our community's rebirth through projects like the Lakeview Amphitheater, the Landmark Theater stage expansion, Creek Walk Commons, Icon Tower, just to name a few. Or the United Way of Central New York, who is celebrating 100 years of making this community better for each and every one of us this year. They are an incredible partner, especially in our workforce initiatives and our work train program, and this community would not be the same United Way without your dedication and support. Oneida Nation Enterprises recently announced its Turning Stone Resort and Casino will undergo the largest expansion project since it opened nearly 30 years ago. And this is in addition to the 300 jobs it created and $50 million it already invested this year. As part of its growth strategy, it's done something unique and recognized the need to ensure its employees had safe and affordable housing. So they led by example and created the villages at Stony Creek for its workforce. TCG Player, just last week announced its acquisition by eBay has been finalized and is an anchor in downtown Syracuse, helping to lead and drive our innovation corridor. And Chetty has been an icon and a leader in our tech startup ecosystem, literally building ladders for professional advancement for his team throughout that company and doing amazing and remarkable things. JMA Wireless, leader in 5G technologies and a partner in our Micron attraction efforts. They opened their new manufacturing facility on the south side this year, demonstrating their commitment to intentional growth and community reinvestment. And that commitment is shared by so many of you, including Pathfinder Bank, its newest branch that will support people as they work to create generational wealth while helping to contribute to our efforts to revitalize the Onondaga Street and the South Salina Street corridor. And Amazon, sorry for the shade earlier, that was Robert, not me. Amazon, who's opened a remarkable high-tech advanced distribution facility in Central New York during the pandemic. And in addition to officially opening that facility, they are meeting their commitment to hire from communities that have long been underserved and ensure that their employees have opportunities for professional growth through a partnership with Onondaga Community College. Now, when we were pitching this community and its growth potential to Micron, we highlighted the growth and investments made by some of our legacy companies as well. Companies like Lockheed Martin and Saab, who have secured significant contracts that have enabled them to reinvest and continue to grow right here in Central New York. And across our community, there are small, locally owned companies that contribute to our community's vibrancy and sense of place. And today, we celebrate each and every one of their impacts. Now, thanks to these companies and so many others, we can say definitively that today marks a new chapter in our region's economic history, right? Central New York is back. Central New York is back on the map. Central New York has a future trajectory ahead of it that is different from the one that we've had over the course of the last many decades, and that future is bright and it is undeniable. Now, over the course of the last 10 years, we've recognized the achievements of hundreds of companies and organizations. Whether big or small, these efforts have been critical to our community's self-led revitalization. Since 2012, including this year, these celebrations have recognized a combined creation of over 31,000 jobs, 27 million square feet of expansions, and more than $8 billion in capital investments. You know the payoff for all of that, the return on that investment, is a partner like Micron and a $100 billion capital investment that's going to circulate through this community, and it's going to create certainty and predictability and growth that can fuel each and every one of your businesses going forward. In fact, during the process of recruiting the company, we commissioned with Empire State Development an economic impact analysis. I just want to give you a couple of highlights from that analysis. I've been working on this project now for 15 months, and these numbers still boggle my mind. $9.6 billion annually in real GDP impact, $16.7 billion annually in real output impact, $17.2 billion in total new state government revenue, 50,000 new permanent jobs as a result of this investment, 70% of which will be right here in Central New York. It's just incredible to think about the ripple effect that this project will have throughout our entire regional economy. The company will need all levels of service providers, as you heard Robert say. Its employees will need mortgage brokers, banks, real estate agents, medical services, education. And community giving has the chance to look a lot different too. We know that our not-for-profits, which have long been the heart of this community, our backbone, will now have new resources with which to do their important work and to lift all of those members of our community up going forward. Now, Micron has told us that a big part of the reason why they are here today is because of how our team operated. The collaboration that existed between the state, the federal government, between Onondaga County, the business sector. That collaboration doesn't end with the announcement that Micron is coming. That collaboration is needed today more than ever because the work that we have to do is incredibly challenging. Not just building these fabs, but making sure that people have access to the jobs that are being created. Making sure that all of you have opportunities to take advantage of this growth opportunity as well. And we know that that is going to require a level of teamwork and collaboration to ensure that local talent is ready for these opportunities and that we're reaching out to communities that have been historically left behind. I've said it before, I'll say it again. While economic growth is no guarantee of greater shared prosperity, it is a necessary precondition to it. And so we have to focus our efforts to ensure that this new rising tide lifts all boats in our community. We have to scale the programs that are working. We have to launch new programs and opportunities, as you heard Robert talk about. And we need to create connections and extend a hand up and an open door to those who have been historically denied opportunity, equity, or a chance at greater personal prosperity. Now, we know this will be hard. It's not impossible. Impossible was putting Central New York back on the map, or so they told us, but we managed to do that too. This work means we have a new opportunity in front of us here in Central New York. And I am challenging all of you to cast out the base assumptions you've had for what this community can be. And each and every one of your businesses, whether you're in the banking world or a staffing firm or a utility company, we make assumptions about what we think is possible in Central New York. And those assumptions for years have been rooted in a premise that Central New York was a stable place, slow growth, but stable, never going to grow too fast, never going to grow too small. But that base assumption set doesn't hold true anymore. This is a different community today because of the investment that Micron has made and is making in our region, right? That growth mindset that we have long sought is now in front of us, and we need to recalculate that universe of possible, because if we could do this, there isn't anything that this community can't do. So, as we leave here today, I want to encourage all of us to take a moment and celebrate the full narrative arc of our community story, from our proud industrial past to the prosperous technological future that awaits us. And I want to thank those of you in this room who played a role in making this happen. I see Assemblyman Al Sturpey over here. I see Melanie Littlejohn from National Grid and the great work that they've done, our friends from Ramble. So many people in this community that contributed to this remarkable success. I have so much pride in Central New York right now, and I have so much appreciation for the support that all of you have provided, not only to this region, but to this organization over all these years. The faith and confidence to go out and dare to dream, dare to try new things, to innovate, to chase opportunities like this didn't happen by accident. It happened because you allowed it to. You created the conditions for that to happen. And I want to thank you, I want to congratulate you, and I appreciate all of you for coming out tonight. Thank you.